Hi guys, Savage Old Gaming here, making average content for the average viewer, and today I am bitter. I don't mind saying it all. I feel like an 80-year-old man who lived through the Second World War and was sent to work at the age of 9 to feed his two little sisters when he watches the youth of today playing carefree in the sun, sitting on their iPads watching YouTube all day. I feel so put out because I have been watching everyone and their fucking nan playing the Modern Warfare Alpha all weekend, and I haven't been able to because of my choice as a consumer to pick the wrong console. I wrote wrong console in inverted commas here, but obviously you guys can't see that, so I'm explaining it now. Before I go on, I'd like to say a massive thank you again to Dice Gaming Xbox for sending me these clips. He saved the day once again. Although I still can't quite believe that someone who literally has Xbox in their YouTube name also has a PlayStation 4 Pro. Bloody Judas. Also, I want to ask you guys what console you play on, or if you have both, which one do you prefer? I'm not trying to start a console war, that is literally the opposite point of this video. I'm just interested to know. In addition to this, if you're new around here, then hey, why not subscribe? I'd like to start by saying that I'm aware that Xbox has had a deal with Activision in the past, and I understand that from that point of view it is completely fair that PlayStation are getting it now. I just want to get that out there before I get people moaning at me in the comments. I understand it. That being said, I do want to talk about the issues that I have with this sort of business model in general. So back in 2006, I made the decision, as many others did, to trade in my trusty PlayStation 2 and upgrade to a brand new shiny Xbox 360. Honestly, it wasn't a decision that I had to think too hard about. It was literally because all of my friends opted for this system and we were big fans of the Halo series, so we needed to pick up the 360 to play that if nothing else. I pumped hours and hours into my 360 and built my gamer score up and created my first gamer tag, which I still use today. So I have grown extremely attached to my Xbox, and indeed Xbox is a franchise. And to be honest, I'm glad I have. I now own an Xbox One X and I'm super happy with the performance and the graphics and everything that I get from it. The problem that I have is that when companies make these deals with game developers, it means, the way I see it, is no one benefits from it at all. Now let me explain this a little more, because I know that it's a bit of a weird concept. So my thoughts are that if there were no exclusivity deals in the gaming industry, then it would mean that the whole community would have access to these games at the same time. Therefore, someone who owns a PlayStation would still get their content at the same time regardless of such a deal. It would be the exact same content, but the only difference would be is that half the community wouldn't be getting preferential treatment over the other. Now obviously I realise that these sorts of deals generate massive amounts of revenue and income for companies, and drives hundreds and thousands of hardware sales for whatever system gets the deal. But from our point of view, the consumer, the only benefit we get is the fact that we can say, haha, we get the game and you don't. Or, haha, we get this content early and you have to wait. That's it. That is literally the extent to which this benefits the consumer. It's like a parent who chooses a favourite child and makes their other child just sit there and watch as their brother eats a whole pack of fucking Haribo. Now in that situation, what do you think would happen? Well, obviously that child grows up to hate their sibling. There is only so much you can take of feeling like you have been cast aside and don't matter before you build up resentment and turn completely toxic. And that is what happened to the gaming community. How many times have you seen someone post a question in a subreddit or a Facebook post asking if a certain game is coming to their console, and it is met by hundreds of people saying that the system that they saved up for and bought and piled their money and time into is a piece of shit and that they should just get the other. I have seen comment sections on simple clips on Facebook groups turn into full-blown arguments between neckbeards and squeaky 14-year-olds just because the clip started with the PlayStation Share intro, and to be honest, it's pathetic. If we're honest about it, the gaming community is already getting stick from everyone else in the world at the moment, whether it be about video games making us violent, or people just saying that people who play video games are losers and don't have a life. Doesn't it just seem mental that within this tight-knit community we are all arguing amongst ourselves because we bought a different piece of bloody plastic? Imagine if it was like that for musicians, and people who played guitars hated people who played drums. Imagine what music would be like if we only had one instrument per song. Well, admittedly, it would probably still be better than Justin Bieber. Actually, I think I'd rather listen to someone mindlessly beating the shit out of a floor tom than listen to Despacito one more time. But anyway, I'm not sure how well that metaphor works, but you get my point. Why should we be at each other's throats just for some massive corporation's gain? It just doesn't make sense. Moving back to Call of Duty, whether it be a deal with Sony or Xbox, we all pay the exact same price tag. In some cases, that being up and over £80, just for the other half of the community to get their hands on it first. How the hell is that even allowed? See, I can understand that if there is a version of the game that offers early access for more money, it's still predatory and splits the player base, sure, but at least it makes more sense than just giving people preferential treatment just because they happen to pick the right console at the right time. I think that we, as consumers in the gaming community, are constantly being bent over a bench and strapped down while some corporate publisher milks us dry with one hand, whilst the other hand has gone up our arse dry and is now elbow fucking deep. We fund these people's massive salaries, and as a thanks, we are force-fed these shit sandwiches. Oh hey, you've been a fan of our games for 10 years now. Oh, well I know how we'll thank you. We'll completely divide our player base, release unfinished games that lack content, and as a bonus, we'll charge you a $5 for a red dot for a gun that has a fucking mustache on it. Are you nuts? I'm not saying that Modern Warfare is bad and toxic at all, and the only reason that I'm so annoyed about this is because the game looks absolutely amazing and I can't wait to make videos on it. But to stay current and keep up with other content creators, I'd have to buy a whole other console just to get the content on time. And the thing is, the actual developers of these games have no say in it. It's a deal that only benefits the publisher and Sony, not the people who slave away and work 60-hour weeks to bring us an amazing game, and most importantly, it doesn't benefit us, the people who stand by these publishers and line their pockets year after year. It's fucking criminal. But now, with Modern Warfare, we are presented with a whole new set of issues. The game is going to have cross-play active from launch, which is an amazing addition, and I really think it's a step in the right direction. However, with the content coming a week early on PlayStation, Xbox players are going to be put in a position where when every update comes out, we are forced to play with people who have new weapons and cosmetic items. Usually when you play against someone who has a new gun and you don't have it, it is because they have either paid for it or they have unlocked it. Meaning that if you really wanted to, you could go and buy it, or you could grind for it yourself. So no matter what, you know you could have that same piece of content if you chose to. But now, you could be getting killed by someone who has an awesome new gun that looks absolutely amazing. But if you want to use that gun, your only two choices are to wait a week or go out and drop another £300 on a brand new console. I just think it's going to leave people with a really bad taste in their mouth, and rightly so. I just think that at some point we should just move past this whole thing. I get that competition can be good for the industry, but surely it would be more beneficial if we just kept it to actual hardware and technological advances, rather than these petty deals that leave half the community feeling like second-class citizens and shelling out nearly £100 for the privilege. It just doesn't make sense. Whew. Right, I've calmed down now. Anyway, I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you think that these sorts of deals are good for the industry, or do you think that we should just all unite as one big gamer force? So, that's about it for me today. I really hope that one or many of these ideas has resonated with you, as it's something that I obviously feel really passionate about. I believe that people should be able to pick a system based on what that piece of hardware has to offer, not based on what back alley deals have been done. But that's just one man's average opinion. Let me know if you agree. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Average Ol. Peace.